Okay. So thank y'all for making time today for this. We're going to run through, I've got a PowerPoint that's got some screenshots because we learned last week that that makes it a little easier for us everybody to follow along and find the things I'm talking about. If you've got any questions, feel free to holler and we'll stop and address those. We're going to do the front half of this is going to be sort of from a participant standpoint. And then we'll do just a little bit on what it would look like if you're the leader of a call or what they call the host. And so if you don't need to stay for the host thing, you're welcome to drop off. And if you want to stick around, you're also welcome to stick around. So we are flexible and this is just sort of a casual space. So I'm going to share my PowerPoint. Everybody can see that? Catherine, you're on a phone. Can you see it?
I know. I'm sorry. We had our carpets cleaned and I didn't realize that's where my computer is. So I have to be on the little phone. Is that a problem?
Okay. No, it's not a problem at all. I just didn't know if you would be able to see what I'm sharing.
Yes. Oh, yes. My eyes are good.
Okay. All right.
I'm looking at it.
Okay. So as we're doing, hold on, I got to click into it. It doesn't want it. There we go. So from a very basic standpoint, you've got to know how to mute and unmute yourself and how to do your video and how to make your video start and stop. And so at the bottom of your screen, there's this black bar right here. And on the left-hand side, you see this microphone. And if you click on it, it'll turn red with a line through it, and that's muting yourself, so we can't hear you. And then if you click it again, it'll unmute you, and then we can hear you. So good Zoom etiquette when you're in a larger group. This group is small enough that it's okay, but if you're in a larger group, like if you're in one of the Sunday school classes or you're in a committee meeting, it's always good to mute yourself because what'll happen is TV's on in the background, husband's washing dishes, dogs barking at the mailman, and everybody hears all of those things. And so if you're not speaking, if you're not leading the group, you would typically mute yourself and then you unmute when you're ready to talk. A tip, if you're on a computer and you're muted, but you just want to pop in and say one quick thing, if you hold the space bar down when you're muted, holding the space bar down will unmute you, and then when you let it go, it'll mute you back again. So that's a real quick, easy way. That was one of my first favorite things I learned about Zoom back in March when we first started doing this, was how to do that so that, you know, we're in staff meeting, we all sit muted, but then you want to pipe in something, you can do that really easily without having to find your mouse and click around. Your video is in the same place. So if you see next to this mute button, you've got this start video option here because when I did this screenshot, I had my video turned off. So your video will either be on or off. If it's got the line through it, it's off. If it doesn't have a line through it, it's on. And it'll be right there. And so that is at the bottom of your screen. All of these options are sort of your basic pieces. But that's, in terms of like real basic how we use Zoom, that's the first thing, is that we got to make sure people can hear us, and then we got to make sure that they can see us. Because if they can't do those things, then it doesn't do us much good. Okay. So then the other thing is how you see Zoom. So there's two different ways to see Zoom. There's a gallery view, which is sort of the Brady Bunch style you see here, where there's all the people are in one screen. To switch between the views, if you're on a computer, in the top right-hand corner, see where I've got it circled here where it says speaker view? If you have it on gallery view, it says speaker there, and then vice versa. So if you click that, it will give you the other view. So it just depends on, you know, if it's a group meeting like this, it's good to see everybody's faces, but sometimes you really only need to see the person who's talking. So if it's a class kind of situation, you may want it to be on speaker view so it stays on the one person. But you can toggle back and forth up here at the top.
Jenny, this is Celia. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't see anybody but you.
So that means you're in speaker view.
Okay.
And are you on an iPad?
And I'm on a computer.
You're on your computer. So The other reason is because I'm sharing my screen right now. Can you see my screen?
Well, I mean, I see you talking in a black outfit, and then you are on my screen looking down in a blue outfit.
Yeah, that was yesterday. I was wearing blue yesterday. If you, hold on, let me stop my share. Do you see everybody now?
No, I see you a full screen of you.
So in the top right-hand corner, there's a piece that's a button that says speaker view, that it'll say, it's got like 9 little dots in a square.
See some little dots.
Click on the little dots.
Okay.
She also needs to do the video.
Here's a whole drop down of new tab, new window, history, downloads, blah, blah. That's not right. Here's something else. I'm sorry.
You were just fine.
No, but I don't see anybody but you.
Somebody else talk and see if you come up. Like Catherine, go ahead and say something.
Oh, okay.
Now,
Celia,
I see Catherine. I see Catherine.
Okay, so that's because you're on speaker view instead of gallery.
Yeah, maybe it's because. Do you still want me to talk?
So Celia,
yeah.
Did you find it?
Okay, I have got a box with 4 little arrows in it. And then above that, I've got those 3 dots and a star and a camera little thing. That's okay, just go on. I'm listening to you.
Celia, I'll come have a glass of wine one night and we'll do a little personal Zoom session, okay?
That's pitiful.
You are not pitiful. I'm telling y'all, I didn't know a thing about Zoom in March. Like March 13th happened, that's when we signed up for the subscription for the church. It was the first I learned.
Yeah, but you're a techie.
A little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
But switching back and forth helps you see more or fewer people. Okay. So one of the things that you can do is you can pin a video. If you click on the 3 little dots on somebody's video, this whole list thing drops down and I was the host here, so I had a couple of extra options, but you would have the chat all the way down to the end. If you choose the pin video option, that makes their video the big one that you see and everybody else stays little up top. What that helps is, like Sarah had a birthday phone call for somebody and they wanted the birthday person to stay the big picture and everybody else to stay little, and it kept popping back and forth because people were talking. So if you're having something that's like you're celebrating somebody and you want them to stay the focal point, you would click the 3 little dots on their picture and then you would click pin video, and then that would make them stay as the big speaker picture. Okay. So there are some things inside Zoom that help us. And so those things are in this video settings option. So on your computer, you see the little up caret next to the video camera. If you click the little up caret next to the video camera, and then you click on video settings, which is circled here, what that does is it takes you into a place where you can do some stuff that's a little bit fun. So it takes you in here. Ignore this picture. This is an awful angle. See this thing here called Touch Up My Appearance?
Oh, touch up my appearance. I like that.
Yeah.
Touch Up My Appearance is like hitting yourself with a big powder puff. It's a filter, but it just softens your features. It's just so helpful. So that's something that you can turn on here, is the Touch Up My Appearance. Zoom recently has
wondered where that was.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Zoom has recently added all these filters. And so you can also add like all this other kind of stuff from the same place. So if you go to the virtual background part, which is on this, it's right here. It's on that same video settings menu. You can choose all kinds of stuff. So like right now I have on these glasses, and you can have, you can be a bear and a reindeer. You can, I have on a headband now. There's one.
Okay.
Oh, this is good. I'm a bandit. But it's just a fun thing to play with, but you can also change your background where you do these virtual backgrounds. So right now you see my messy office, but just like that, I'm in San Francisco. So if you're in a place where you don't want to share your background, this is where you can do the virtual backgrounds. Let me take, I'm not a bandit anymore. Let me take my bandit.
And that's through the video camera icon. Clicking on the video camera icon.
And then the video settings.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Cool.
So those are just some fun things, because when you spend as much time on Zoom as I do, finding those filters yesterday entertained us in staff meeting for like 20 minutes. There's a halo one, and when you move your head around, the halo moves with you, and it's pretty cool. I am far from an angel though, so I take it off. Okay, so then the other thing that you can do when you're in Zoom, if you're in a meeting or you're in a class, if you don't want to interrupt the speaker, and sometimes like the looking inward, moving forward class, they're using the chat a lot. So the chat is a way to share whatever you're thinking with the group without having to interrupt the speaker. So they use it for like a Lectio Divina kind of thing. So they read scripture and then everybody types in the chat what they want to share, like whatever the word or phrase that stands out to them. So to get to the chat, again, it's this bottom bar. You've got the chat icon in the bottom, and that'll pull it up on the side of your screen here. And then you can use the drop-down menu to choose who you want to share whatever you're sharing with. So it'll default to everyone, but you can also pick the person you want to chat with. So you could send a private message to somebody. The only thing to remember there is that if you send a private message to somebody, it'll stay just to that somebody. So if you're trying to say something to somebody else, or you're trying to say something to the whole group, you have to manually change in this drop-down menu who it goes to. It's sort of like sending a text message. You just want to be real sure who it's going to before you hit send. So when we're going to do breakout rooms in just a minute because we're going to test this. But if you're in a group or a meeting that's using the breakout rooms, what'll happen is this is what pops up on your screen. It'll say the host is inviting you to join the breakout room. When this box pops up, just hit join, and it'll say, may take a minute. We're going to put you in a room, and so it'll happen. So we're going to do that here in just a second. When you're ready to leave the breakout room, oh, hold on, I went too far. When you're When you're ready to leave the breakout room, it's going to ask you, a box will pop up and say, the host has closed the breakout rooms. Click here to return to the main room, or breakout rooms will automatically close in 60 seconds. So if you can't figure out what to click, just sit tight and it'll dump you back into the main room. So I'm going to stop this share, and we're going to test this, right? So we're going to break up into 3 rooms. And so I'm going to create the rooms. All right. So you're fixing to get that notification on your screen. If you'll click join, it'll put you in the breakout rooms. I'll leave you there for just a second. And then if you'll come back, I'll close the rooms, and you can either click to leave or you can just sit tight and it'll bring you back. Okay? So here we go. You should see it on your screen. So click join. It looks like we're just waiting for a couple people to come back. Sometimes that breakout room piece can be a little confusing, which is why I wanted to go over it here. Looks like just a couple people still waiting. They'll come back in 20 seconds if they don't come back sooner. Seven seconds. It's very exciting. Okay. So there's Catherine, and I think
Yes.
Sylvia's back too. So was that confusing for anybody?
It wasn't confusing, but I felt like I'd been put in timeout because I couldn't talk to anyone. I asked, is anyone in this breakout room? And no one responded.
Huh. Because Susan, I think, was in your room.
Yeah.
No, Celia and Sylvia were in the room with you. Sylvia's on her phone, so I'm not sure.
And Catherine, this is Ann Cashin. I saw you. I waved to you.
Oh, did you see me?
Uh-huh.
Did you wave to me? Maybe because I'm on my phone, but could you hear me kind of pleading? Is anyone here with me?
Well, I waved and I looked so bad. I went back to the main room and turned off my video.
And I look terrible too. So the lighting's not right. I can't wait to use that enhancement. But anyway, that was my only thought.
So we've just, in some other groups, we've had people have some challenges with the breakout room. So I just wanted to cover that here.
Okay.
Hold on. Okay, here it is. It's confusing because my PowerPoint has pictures of me on Zoom, and so I keep getting confused about what window to open. It's very confusing. Okay, so just a couple of tips here. So it's important to think about where you put the camera, because as you saw in that earlier picture of me, up your nose is not flattering for any of us. So sort of in the same way, if you're taking a selfie, the most flattering angle is from up here, right? On Zoom, the most flattering angle is either for your camera to be a little bit above you or at least to be level with your eyeballs, because then you're looking straight ahead instead of looking down. I don't care how skinny you are, if you spend all day with your head at a 45-degree angle, you've got at least two chins. So be mindful of trying to, and so sometimes what I do, like at home, is I'll prop my laptop up. I'll put it on, I found board game boxes are great because they're thick, but they're light. And so just stack a couple of those and put your computer there so that your camera's at eye level. It's just, it makes it easier. The other thing is the lighting. So it's better if the lighting is in front of you rather than behind you. If the light is all coming from behind, it turns you into somebody in witness protection because we can't see your face. When they did the charge for Sarah Dorian Christians for her installation, it was like a 4-hour phone call between Anne and Rebecca and Margaret. And at least an hour of that was conversation about lighting. How'd your lighting look so good? I want my lighting to look like that. I look green, I look gray. It's just, it is a struggle that we all have, especially when we're spending so much more time looking at ourselves than we're used to. But if your light is in front of you, it's just gonna be better for everybody to see you, and also, quite frankly, for you to feel better about yourself, because it's you don't look like all haunted. And then the other thing that you can do, if you are tired of looking at yourself because you've been on Zoom all the time, you can do this hide self view. So to do this, what you do is you click on the 3 dots on your picture, and then the very bottom thing says hide self view. So when you do that, it makes you go away, which can make this Zoom fatigue that people have these days because we're spending so much time interacting this way. It can make it a little bit better. Part of the Zoom fatigue is that we're not used to seeing ourselves all day long. You know, if we were in a meeting in a regular world, y'all would see me, but I don't have to see me, so it's fine. I'm not aware of the fact that I don't have any lipstick on. You might be bothered by it, but it doesn't bother me any because I've forgotten. So if you hide your self view, then it takes a little bit of the angst off. The only thing about that is that I have found it is hard. Sometimes when you can't see yourself, you forget other people can still see you. And so it's easy to forget that everybody else in the meeting can still see you. I struggle with the fact that my resting face looks a little bit angry. And so when I can see myself on Zoom, I remember to smile and nod and give positive affirmations back to whoever's speaking. When I can't see myself, I sit there like this. Which can be, people think I'm mad. I'm not mad. It's just the way God made my face. It's fine. But it makes it harder to remember that. So turn your self-view off. It really does. I mean, it takes the weight off your shoulders almost, because you're like, oh gosh, I'm not there anymore. Just remember that other people can still see you. So when you're done with oh, Joyce, you're waving at me. You're muted.
I don't know how to get back. I hid myself, but how do I get back again?
You do the same thing. So you click on the 3 dots and then you,
but I'm not
it'll
there.
say,
I'm not there to hit on the 3 dots.
oh, hold on.
At the top right of your screen.
Go right to
You're muted again.
down.
I'm saying I've gone. Can you see me?
Yes, we can see you. Can you see you?
No.
So at the bottom of the screen where you've got your controls, the mute, the stop video,
Uh-huh.
if you go all the way over to the right, there's 3 little dots that say more. And if you click on those 3 dots, show self-view should be there.
So Jenny, right now, when I click on those 3 dots, I see the emojis at the top. I see chat, meeting settings, minimize meeting, virtual background, raise hand, and disconnect audio.
Are you on an iPad?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So
iPad.
it's a little bit different if you're not on a computer. Joyce, you're on a
Okay.
computer, Joyce, aren't you?
Try settings.
I can't see more. So I don't know quite.
At the black part at the bottom that says like mute, stop video,
Yeah.
all the way, what is the thing on the very far right say?
I've got participants, chat, share screen, record, and reactions.
Mine's like that too.
Okay, when I was up there, I did it, and up at the top of my right, it says full screen and something else. And when I went up there, there was a thing, unmute yourself or something. Where it says speaker view, exit, full screen, there was a thing right before speaker view. And I clicked on that and I came back.
Ah, I found it. There was something at the top that said show self view.
I'm sorry. I'm glad you found it. So then when the meeting's all said and done and you're ready to go, or before the meeting's said and done and you're just ready to go, there's a button down here at the bottom that says leave.
Yeah.
When you click that, it'll say you want to leave the meeting and you'll go. And that is the participant piece of this training. Do y'all have any questions? No? Okay, so we're gonna go to the leader. If you end up being the host of a Zoom meeting, this next part is for that group. If you don't think you're gonna be the host of a Zoom meeting and you wanna drop off, feel free. It won't hurt my feelings. And it's sort of brief, but it's just the highlights of what you need to know to host a Zoom meeting, okay? So
Jenny, I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
If you don't have a Zoom account, you can't be a host, right?
Right.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
there's a free Zoom account that you can
Yeah, I just haven't looked into getting one. My kids all have one, so I haven't felt the need to get one yet.
Yeah. So one of the things that the host does is share their screen like I'm doing with you right now. So from a host standpoint, if you're logged in as the host, and in some meetings you can share your screen if you're not the host. It depends on how the host has that set up. But you see the green up arrow that says share screen at the bottom. So you click on that and then this white box pops up. Now, one of the things to remember is that you have to have whatever you're going to share has to be open. So you've got to already have the program open in the background on your desktop. So you hit share screen, you choose what you want to share. One thing to remember is right here where it says share computer sound. If anything that you're sharing has an audio component, you want that to be checked, because otherwise nobody will be able to hear what you're doing. So this summer when we did some of those YouTube Bible studies where we shared those, you have to have share computer sound checked, or else it's just not gonna, they'll only be able to hear it coming out of your speakers and going into your microphone, which will not be sufficient. But you select what you want to share and you click the share button and it opens it up like what we're looking at now, what you're looking at from my computer right now. If you want to switch between shares, so like at session meeting, I'm sharing about 6 different things throughout the course of a session meeting. So I've got the agenda up and then I'm ready to switch to a PowerPoint and then I'm going to switch to an Excel document. To switch between shares, you just want to do, when you're in the share, you'll click new share. You'll select your new window and you'll hit start share. And then that way, otherwise what'll happen is if you close your share, everybody will go back to the gallery view or the speaker view, and then you'll open it up again, which can just, that's a lot of movement in terms of a Zoom meeting. It can be a little nauseating, quite frankly, just because of all the back and forth. So it's smoother if you just share and then do a new share inside the current share. Does that make sense? Okay. In terms of what you can control from a host standpoint, I have the power to mute all of you, turn your cameras off, and those are things that only the host or co-host can do. So if you're hosting a meeting and you click on the participants right down here at the bottom, it'll list everybody over on the right-hand side. You can click on their microphone to mute them. You could click on the camera to turn that off. You cannot unmute them or turn their camera back on without their permission. So if you want to unmute somebody, you can click on that to unmute them, and it'll ask them to consent. But that's just, I mean, we would all want to be able to give that consent too. And the same with the camera. If you're leading a big group and you want to mute you allowed everybody to come in, say, hey, 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 at the beginning, and now you're ready to start, and you want to mute everybody, down here at the bottom, there's this mute all button. And so the mute all button allows you to mute everybody. And then what you would do is go back and unmute your speaker. That's the fastest way to do it if it's a big group. Stephanie, I see your question about co-host. We'll get there. But that, and I'm not sure what this extra arrow and circle is here. It's clearly not circling anything. I don't know what I was going for there. But you've got the ability to mute everybody and to turn all the cameras off. And so that part helps when you're dealing with a bigger group of people.
I've got a note here saying Stephanie Rada wants to hear something about the co-leader.
Uh-huh.
That's all she has.
Yes, I wanted to hear about that too. We're trying to co-lead something to share the host so that one person just leads the meeting and then the other person does all the technology.
Yeah, and so
yeah.
I think what's confusing a little bit there is that the language that the term Zoom uses is host. But what that really means is that's the person who's doing the technology stuff. So we think of host in terms of like somebody has you in their home or people co-host a baby shower, but really the host is who's driving the technology piece. So if you want to let somebody just lead the meeting and the term you're thinking of as co-host is really driving the PowerPoint, muting the people, unmuting them, that person is really just the host. Zoom allows you to designate a co-host, and that the co-host has the ability to mute and unmute people, but they don't have the ability to do breakout rooms. So if you see yourself in a position where you're going to need breakout rooms, whoever's driving that part needs to be the host.
Can the co-host do all the chat, the chat features and all of that? Okay. So really you're saying the only thing the co-host cannot do is a breakout room?
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, Jenny, if it's like Saturday, we're Zooming for PW. Am I the host?
So I'll have to look and see which account I set that up under. I don't remember. If it's set up under the Idlewild PW account, you have to log in as the Idlewild PW to be the host.
Okay.
When I set up meetings for anybody, I'll set them up so that I don't have to be there for all of them. And so when I do that, I set it up so people can join before the host. So like today, Lucy and Susan were on when I got here because they were able to join before me, which is how y'all are able to have meetings that I'm not there for. So if I set it up under my account, what I do like on Sunday mornings is I hop into the Sunday school, I designate somebody else as the host, and I hop back out. And so Barbara, I will have to look and see. I don't remember if I set that up under PW or under me. The problem is when I set up my Zoom account, I linked it to my church email password, and that's not something I really want to share, and I can't change it now. Lesson learned. But the PW account, I think Lisa has shared that password with circle leaders so that they can log in as the host.
Will you let me know so I know what to do?
Yes.
Thank you.
So if you're going to use breakout rooms, when you're the host, your bottom bar looks a little different. So your bottom bar will have the breakout room option down here. If you click that, you've got two different ways to assign people to a breakout room. You'll tell it how many rooms you want it to have. If you leave it on automatically, which is what I did earlier when we went into breakout rooms, it'll just divvy people up. So I told it we wanted to have 4 rooms and told it to do it automatically and created them like that. If you want to do it manually, where you want to designate which 3 people are with which 3 people, you can do that. You can choose manually. It'll give you a list of your participants and you'll assign them to rooms. That's part of why it didn't work to have the circles meet all together and then do breakout rooms, because Lisa or somebody would have had to manually designate people into their circles, and it's just too confusing.
And you can't do that ahead of time?
No, because people log in with any number of email addresses, and like when Anne logged in, her name was iPad, and so Zoom doesn't know that iPad equals Anne. And so there's just too many variables. We tested it a couple times and we were never super successful.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so that is all that I have. I mean, that is essentially Zoom in a sort of quick nutshell. I feel like I flew through that, and I hope that I did not.
You did great.
You did real well.
Great.
Thank you. It was good.
As Catherine was saying, she and I are interested for another group, but it'll probably help the church sometime too. And so we did an awkward thing where she is the president of the group, but I was trying to do the hosting duties. So I actually logged in as her, and I created the meeting, scheduled the meeting using Zoom terminology. I scheduled the meeting because it just seemed more proper that it should come from her. But then on the meeting day, we came in, so she was the host, and then we found out how to switch. Steve and Catherine and Nancy and I, worked together. We found out how to switch the host. So she switched the host to me, and then I switched it back to her. That was all kind of awkward. So this has really helped, don't you think, Catherine, to learn that really whoever you want to run all the technology, just make them the host from the beginning. Okay.
Yes.
Well, and I'll say, I mean, if you're the one leading a Zoom meeting, there's enough, it is hard, you cannot read a room on Zoom. You cannot tell, it's hard to tell when people are getting restless. It's hard to, you can't read the body language the same way that you can if you're sitting in a room. And so it is too much, what we have learned is it is too much to expect somebody to manage a meeting on Zoom from a leadership standpoint and the technology standpoint, which is why at session, Ann and Heather are not driving the technology at all. They are just managing the meeting, and then for that meeting, I'm driving the technology to make sure that we keep all the balls in the air.
Right, and share your screen and all of that. Yeah. But I guess that's a little different for us because we're all used to being invited to the meeting by you. I guess it wouldn't matter with our group, Catherine, if.
No, I mean, I think that the way, just because the account is in my name, I think I just have to be, but then just like we did, we tapped on the participants and then made you co-host when you came in, so that then you had all those abilities, except you can't do a breakout room, and we'll never do a breakout room. But I think, I mean, is that?
Yeah, I think that's just
the way to do that.
We didn't know about co-hosting. Yeah. That was the thing. Let's see.
Do we know how to create co-hosts, Jenny?
Right.
So if you're the host, when you click on participants and it lists all the people for you over on the right.
Yep.
There's an option beside everybody's name that says, if you move your cursor over it, and I don't have a screenshot or I would share it, but if you put your cursor on somebody's name, there's a mute button, and then there's a button that says more. And if you click on more, then you'll have the opportunity there to make somebody a co-host.
I don't remember seeing co-host. That's where we switched out to someone to be the host.
It's right below that. So the option.
I'm not the host, so I can't see it. So,
right.
But it is on there. Okay, good. Well, that's what we should do, Catherine, co-host.
Okay. Okay, just make you co-host. Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, we'll have to, I think if I logged in as Catherine, then Catherine's name would be on my picture. And I did see there's a place you can change your name, but that doesn't sound like the way to do it.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. We may have to practice one more time.
Yeah, we can practice another time. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And
anybody else have any questions?
Catherine, I think we should try breakout rooms. It looked easy.
Really?
Well, if it's automatic, I love that. Is it, Jenny, have you had
to have a little discussion group? Yeah.
So people can visit.
I mean, we could have a little discussion afterwards or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because it's too hard for 30 people to all talk to each other. Jenny,
that's true.
Do you have you run into any reasons not to have breakout room? You know,
the only, and this is not a downside, the only thing about breakout rooms is if you're recording the session. So for that looking inward class, we record that.
Right.
And what happens is the breakout rooms aren't recorded. Okay. So when we go back with that video, I have to go in and edit out, the 20 minutes they spend in breakout rooms, or else there's 20 minutes of empty room.
Sit there with nothing.
But,
okay.
That's the only
part.
Okay.
One other question, Jenny. Sorry, coughing. Feel free to drink. What was it? Oh, recording. When you've recorded something, then Where does it go? What happens? How does that look?
So when you record it, you have two options. You can record it to the computer that you're on,
Okay.
or you can record it to the cloud. I suggest recording it to the cloud because if you record it on your computer, it takes up a ton of space.
Okay.
If you record it to the cloud, then
Okay.
you just go log into your account and download it, and it's a much smaller file than if you record directly to your computer.
Then how do you retrieve it?
You log into your account, and under the recordings tab, it'll show you all the recordings that you have.
Okay.
And then you just go and you click on one and you click the download arrow.
All right. And I assume you can share that link with your group or whatever.
Yes. So once the recording has completed, like once the meeting has finished and the recording has processed, you get an email that says your recording is ready as the host. In that email, there's a link that's just unique to the host, and there's a link that you can share with people with a password. So if you do that, then you're able to share it. The only thing, Zoom limits how much storage capacity you have with your recordings. So it may be better if you think people are going to want to see it for a long time, then download it and upload it to a Google Drive or to a YouTube channel with like a private link. And then they can go get it whenever they want to. You don't want to leave it in your Zoom cloud recordings because then you'll end up having to pay for storage.
Okay. Good. That's great. So you get an email. I thought we had recorded that meeting, but I guess we didn't because I don't think anybody ever got an email. So we'll practice with that.
Only the host gets the email.
Oh, okay.
Could I?
Oh, okay. Well, I'll check.
Jenny.
I don't remember getting an email, but
Jenny, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Oh, okay. I can tell. Would you? This is Sylvia. Can you please release me? I've been trying for about 10 minutes. I can't get a picture or anything. I can hear you, but I can't leave the meeting.
So you want me to let you leave?
Yes, just let me leave the meeting because it's being discussed by managers now.
Yeah, hang on just a second.
Thank you. Have a
Cut her off. I didn't mean to. Joyce, what was your question?
Just one question. Like with the book club today, we have somebody who has some pictures to show. Now, Charles is the host or co-host, whatever. So it's just out of interest for me. The person who wants to show it said to me, the host has to give me permission to show it. Does that automatically happen just with getting into the meeting?
It depends on how you have your meeting set up. So again, I've set our meetings up so that anybody can share. The host can stop it. So if somebody's sharing something that we don't want them to, the host can shut it down, but any participant in the meeting can share. So they'll be able to share.
That's fine. Thank you.
There are a whole bunch of people in this world who use their powers not for good. And so what we've learned since March is that people will it's a thing called Zoom bombing, and they'll come into a Zoom meeting and share images that are inappropriate or music that's inappropriate or say things in the chat. We had it happen once to a youth event at Ottawa, but that's the only time I'm aware of, knock on wood, that it's happened. But we take some steps on the backside of things to try to keep our Zoom links private and that kind of thing, so we're not as open to that as we might otherwise be. Are there any other questions? Okay, well, thank you all for your time. I'll put this on the YouTube channel and I'll send a link to Lisa for her to send out. And if you think of anything in the meantime, like, oh man, I meant to ask that thing, just shoot me an email or give me a phone call and we'll walk through it, okay? Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Jenny.
Thank you, Jenny.